It's time now for another look at some of the day's business news for you with France 24's Cole Stangler, who's with me here in the studio. And Cole, you're starting with the very successful IPO of a popular Chinese video app.
That's right, Thomas. It's known as Kuaishou, a rival to the better-known platform known as TikTok. The firm had an initial public offering of some $5.3 billion in Hong Kong. Shares have spiked around 160% in its first day of trading. And Kuaishou is one of China's most well-known video apps, counting around 300 million daily users. It's especially popular in some of the country's smaller cities, but also in more rural parts of China where it's used for group chats and for messaging. The tech sector has faced growing scrutiny from the Chinese government in recent months. Investors here, though, apparently shaking off those concerns. Let's take a look now at some of the day's trading action. The major European indexes all trading just around the flat line to start the day. The FTSE in London and the DAX over in Frankfurt just below, as you can see there. The CAC 40 in positive territory. Meanwhile, shares for BNP Paribas, though, down around 0.5%. The bank reported a drop in profit for the last 3 months of 2020, which it pins on increased risk as a result of the pandemic. Major Asian indexes in largely positive territory there. Close out the week, the Hang Seng up around 1.5%, led by Kuaishou, of course. Shares on the Nikkei, meanwhile, up around 1.5%. Investors confident overall in Asia about the prospects of a large stimulus plan on its way in the United States.
Well, shifting gears now, but staying with the business news, one of the most watched and most lucrative sporting events in the world is set to take place this weekend in the United States.
Right, Thomas, of course, we're talking about the Super Bowl, which is going to look very different this year. For one, fewer fans at the stadium means fewer ticket sales, but the pandemic is also shaking up the game's highly sought advertising spots. Kamil Nedelek reports on the changes.
The game itself may not have changed, but the Super Bowl, usually the sports highlight of the year, is going to look very different. Gone are the huge crowds, with just 25,000 in-person tickets for a stadium that in pre-pandemic times fit up to 75,000. And the big brands whose adverts had become shows in and of themselves will also be staying away. Such as Super Bowl fixture Budweiser, which will be sitting out the game for the first time in 37 years. It says that it will use the money to invest in promoting vaccination against the coronavirus instead.
Advertisers like Budweiser, Pepsi, Coke, Hyundai, Kia, they decided to sit out this year. And it's made room for a whole bunch of newcomers after the year that we've had and so much fear and anxiety and sadness, that it's really the goal during the Super Bowl to entertain, uplift, and to bring in some optimism.
Newcomers include many whose services have been given a boost from the pandemic, such as order-in food delivery service Uber Eats. The firm kicked off its $20 million campaign to support independent restaurants with a throwback to the 1990s cult classic film Wayne's World, featuring the original characters Wayne and Garth and rapper Cardi B. Logitech makes keyboards and webcams, and those have been in high demand as consumers set up home offices. The company's advert features rapper Lil Nas X and highlights how artists use technology in their work. The 30-second Super Bowl spot costs $5.5 million, which is on par with previous years.
It was Kamil Nedelek reporting there. Now, in the meantime, Cole, talks in the US are continuing over an economic relief plan.
Yeah, the proposal on the table now would include another round of so-called stimulus checks. Now, these are cash payments pegged at $1,400 to millions of Americans. But as Democrats seek to win Republican support, there is reportedly talk of further restricting eligibility for those checks, targeting them to more lower-income individuals. Either way, Democrats insist they're committed to a large relief plan. Earlier this week, the House approved a budget bill that would pave the way for Democrats to approve new stimulus without Republican support if necessary.
We want to save lives and save livelihoods. It's going to cost some money to do so, but it is a good investment. And don't take it from us, whether you're talking about the chairman of the Fed, the Secretary of the Treasury, Mark Zandi, other economists have said, even the governor of West Virginia has said, go big rather than go small.
Now, Thomas will be keeping a close eye on how those stimulus talks go in the U.S. Republicans and Democrats, hoping to try to reach an agreement potentially, and Democrats are ready to go their own way if they don't get that Republican support.
Okay, Cole Stangler with the business news. Thank you very much.